believe it, but there wasn't a lot of green screen. We did it on location, a lot of time with real people, with the New Zealand Army as extras, you know.
Spectacular locations.
Huge. We had to have places like this to have lunch. There was 1,000 people at lunch. I mean, I can't cook for 1,000 people. I don't know who can, but somebody did. And it was weird. It was lunch with people who were 8 feet tall and people who were 3.5 feet tall and urukais and orcs, and it was a weird, wonderful, you know, crazy experience.
And you made some good friends on that project. You stayed in touch with your fellow hobbits, I guess?
We did, in a very real way, you know. Still go on holiday with some of the guys. You know, I see them all the time, and not just the hobbits, Orlando and Vigo and Bernard Hill, and just all wonderful people and great actors, you know. So that was the most special thing about it, I think. There was a lot that was special about it, but that was probably the big standout, you know.
When you were in the middle of it all filming, did you realise that one day that would be looked back on as the good old days?
No, I don't suppose you ever do you? You just kind of, you live life as it happens in the moment. I suppose that's the answer, by the way. It's not 42. The answer is to live now in this moment and not think, oh, that was great, or it's going to be much better if I can just have a bigger house, or, you know, a faster dog or something like that. Because, you know, it's just good as it is. You know, breathe and enjoy it.
So life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans.
Somebody said that once, I think.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen, let's see who's got their somebody first arm up there, very quick.
Hi Billy, good afternoon.
Hello.
Right, my question is, did you do your own stunts, and how difficult was it when you did these stunts?
On Lord of the Rings, stunts. Yeah, there was all sorts. As I say, it was crazy. Sometimes on set, there would be like me, Pippin, and then there would be a girl from Thailand called Fawn, who was wonderful, and she was 3'7", and she would be Pippin. So there was that Pippin, and then there would be a stunt guy dressed as Pippin, and then, you know, sometimes there'd be like 4 Pippins, you know, all shooting different things at different times. So most of the time I did our own stunts. There's a few things like in the Fellowship when we rolled down the hill, that stuntmen did the big rolls, and then we did the last, you know, 6 inches, you know. But they rolled down the hill and their feet were flying off, and, you know, wigs were flying off. The stuntmen were great on that. They all lived in the same sort of building, and they used to be crazy. They used to, you know, see who could jump off highest in the building. You know, somebody go on the roof, and then somebody go on the roof above that, and they would just jump off to see what they could do. You know, they were all pretty crazy, and they were all martial arts experts. So I was always asking them, you know, how do you knock somebody out of stuff, and press you in the neck, and you go and stuff. You know. There was the stuntmen were a big part of those movies. They were great, really great.
Did you pick up a few skills? Did they teach you stuff on that?
Yeah, I can kill a man with just a matchbox. So yeah, exactly.
Okay. Down the front. There we go.
There's a pirate down here with a question.
A highway woman.
Yes, thank you. You know how you were saying you were musically inclined? I don't suppose you could give us a little bit of a demonstration of these abilities, preferably with Homer's behind.
Do you know what? I'm going to stop you and say no.
No!
I would love to say yes, but I just don't feel like, you know, I can do it just now. I fear I may forget the words. There's a good chance I'd forget the tune. It would just be embarrassing. Everybody would walk out, and then I'd just be left alone with you. And you know,
that's not much fun for either of us.
Yeah, I would say by the soundtrack, or even better, I have a band called Bee Cake, buy their albums, and then they'll be singing on that.
How's the touring going?
It's going good. We're actually not touring just now. We're in recording a new record. So I go back into the studio in about 2 weeks to continue work on the new Bee Cake record.
You've got a youngster, haven't you? So you don't really want to stray far from home, I guess.
I don't, but I often do, because I was talking about this with my agent actually, because another job came up that was far away, and I was like, I don't think I will. I think I'll just stay at home. And he's like, well, you know, you've chosen a gypsy career, which it is, you know. You have to travel because it's part of our job. But I find myself travelling less and less. Even in the house.
Where's home at the moment then?
Well, I spent all this year in Los Angeles, but I just went back to Scotland last weekend. So I'm going to spend hopefully the rest of the year in Scotland or Britain.
It's still Britain.
Yeah, no, I can move around a bit.
Okay, somebody down here, and then we'll go to the back there.
Wait, where is she going?
Somebody sneaking out.
Get back in your position.
Down here.
Hello. Hiya. Can I just quickly say Billy Pippin was almost my favourite character, always.
Oh, well
Just
done.
quickly
You
say.
chose right. That's the right character.
Can I just ask, what do you think of The Hobbit, and do you wish that you had have been in it?
I really love the Hobbit films. I think the last one was amazing. Really, like, groundbreaking. I thought it was incredible. And I've seen some of the next one, and it's really amazing. Would I like to be in it? Yeah, I would. You know, I'd like to be part of that world again. But I'm really happy I got to play Peregrine Took. So, you know, I wouldn't want to swap him for someone else. So I suppose that means I can't be in The Hobbit, you know, unless I was in full prosthetics or something. Maybe I could be that bad guy. What's his name? The all-white orc. What's his name? Someone must know.
Azog.
Now, I wouldn't mind doing something like that, but I don't know if I've got the stature. But it's amazing what they can do with green screens and that these days.
Over here.
Hi, Billy.
Hello.
I was wondering where your favourite place in New Zealand was to film.
Wow, yeah, we had a lot of places that I really loved. I loved being down in Queenstown, which, when we went there, had a huge storm and it flooded. It was completely underwater. To get into the hotel room, we had to go up and climb up a ladder and through a window because the ground was underwater. People were getting around Queenstown on boats, on little kind of canoes and things. It was great. But it was beautiful, really beautiful. We stayed in a place called Paradise, and it really was. It had a good name. But and as we were there, every week the water would recede a bit, and another street would open up in Queenstown. So there was new restaurants to go to, and new pubs and things. So that was really beautiful and fun. And I love Wellington as well. I think it's a great city, really, really great city.
Good. Down the front here.
Hello.
Hello. I come from Dartmoor, and Alan Lee lives in Dartmoor. You must know Alan Lee. And obviously, I'm very proud to have Alan Lee live in Dartmoor. What was he like to work with? Because I know he's very shy.
Does anyone know? So Alan Lee is the wonderful illustrator who, I think one of the genius things that Peter Jackson did was he got Alan Lee and John Howe to come over to New Zealand while they were designing Middle-earth, and they became a huge part. They were supposed to go over for a few weeks to help them. 4 years later, they're still there, you know. And Alan Lee, just incredible artist. Don't know if you remember at the end of Return of the King, in the titles, it was hand-drawn sketches of all the characters, and that was Alan Lee. Just beautiful. And he was just so lovely to work with. You could ask him questions, you could, you know, because nobody knew Middle-earth as well as they did, visually. you know. So it was always nice to talk to him and get his feelings on things. And I'm sure he did a lot of little sketches at dinners and things that I should have kept, and I could have like bought a house or something by selling them. But you don't think at the time, you don't think it's the good old days when they're happening.
That's what I was.
That's the thing. You're like, oh, thanks, Alan, that's a really nice sketch. And then you leave it on the table or something. And the waitress buys a house. You don't need them.
Did you meet him? No.
And you haven't met him, oh, you should. He's quite quiet, he won't, yeah. But he's lovely, a really genuinely lovely man. Our friend followed Alan and she wasn't arrested. She should have been. Because that's stalking, it is, yeah.
We've got another question over here, over this side.
I like a few people have broken into the first few rows here. I think that's good. I feel like we're breaking the law a bit.
They're either crew or gold ticket holders. Oh.
Hey, you get the front seats, I love it. You get free coffee. It's been there for about 2 days.
Over the side.
Sorry,
no, take your time. Now that you've done like film and theatre and radio to all those different media, how do they compare with each other? Which one's your favourite, stage or screen?
Yeah, they're all different, you know, because when you do a stage play, normally if someone comes to the stage door, the first thing they ask you is not how did you find the character or that. They say, how did you learn the lines? You know, that's the thing that most people are interested in. And it's actually quite easy, you know, because you're working on it for a month or whatever. But the good thing about radio is you don't need to learn the lines. They're there in front of you and you just read them. And no costume, no makeup. So there's something really lovely about radio that you can be whoever. And visually it doesn't matter. I love stage. I love the idea of something starting and then you're on it. You're telling that story until it finishes, and you're the only people that can do that. The people on stage, you know. Film I love because I think it's our generation's way of telling stories. It's, you know, I probably enjoy film more than any other medium. Watching it, I think we've become great at telling stories. If anything, the only thing I'm sad about film is it's become so financially driven that the same stories keep getting told in the same way, and that's a problem I think we're going to have to address at some point, otherwise it will become a dead medium, you know. There's not enough kind of change because people are scared because they cost so much to make that people are scared, whereas a play, you know, you find a space and someone puts a light up and you can do a play, you know.
It's presumably for film, it's very rare to have a rehearsal process.
That's true, yeah.
Did Peter Jackson kind of workshop with you guys a bit, yeah?
Yeah, so that is true. A lot of time on film you arrive, you know, the night before you're going on stage, yeah, or in front of the camera. And Lord of the Rings, we were there over a month, you know, learning how to do swords and do canoes and do all these things. And the same with Master and Commander as well, actually. So there is some films where they'll take the time to build a crew and I think all that stuff really helps. It's expensive, of course. That's why people don't do it every time. But it's really helpful, and I think it helped to form the fellowship, as well as, you know, because we were doing things like sword fencing and all that. The Hobbits just didn't do, really, you know. We got really good at it. Especially me and Sean Astin, we were brilliant at sword fencing, but we weren't allowed to do it because we were hobbits. But what it did do was it brought us all together, and at dinner we talked about what it was to be a hobbit, what was it to live in the Shire, and all that stuff helps to kind of... I had an acting teacher once who said you don't create a character like that, although sometimes you can do that, you know, and it works, but most of the time he said it's like a tie-dyed piece of fabric. You just keep adding a little bit to it, you know, you dye it, you let it dry, you dye a little bit more, and if you're allowed to do that with a character, I think you find a character that's much more in your body and in your, you know, everything, your voice, and I think if you get that before you start filming, those sort of rehearsal periods, it really helps to do that.
What's the longest theatre run you've ever been in? Because there you get to repeat the performance and hone it in a different way.
I did Train Spotting, used to be a play, and I did Train Spotting on stage, I think, for about 6 months.
Who did you play?
I played Sick Boy. Yeah, so that's a weird thing, to do something every night and keep, but you reinvent it and it becomes, I'm sure if you looked at that play at the end of 6 months to when it started, it was a completely different play, you know.
Okay, oh, we got 1, 2, 3, so over here.
Here she comes with her
Pass it
microphone.
across, there we go. For the benefit of the
Can
camera.
everyone hear? Is this like, are all those speakers on and
It's
everything?
extremely echoey. You chaps at the back, you all okay? Yeah, they can hear us.
Just quickly, going back to Lord of the Rings, prop-wise, aside from the obvious, if you could have taken anything home with you, what would you done? And also, did anything make it home with you? Was there any like Hobbit outfits just lying around that you casually walk around in?
What souvenirs have you managed to finagle?
There was a few things actually. It was lovely that when someone finished, like completely finished filming, Pete would have a sort of night for them where they put up a screen and they would show your highlights and bloopers as well. And then they gave you some gifts. And the day that I finished, I got my sword from Gondor, which was wonderful, beautiful sword. We used to sit in chairs that had your name in the back, so we took the name. My last clapperboard with the last scene, which was the scene where I saved Gandalf, which is good. You know, if you can save a wizard, you've done pretty well. And then I stole some feet, and I stole some ears because you weren't allowed to do that, and I stole my scarf because I liked that Pippin had a scarf. So I stole those things.
You've still got them, say?
Still got those, yeah.
Well, there's your pension.
Also, very quickly, who ended up with the ring?
With the ring, ring. There was a lot of rings, to be honest. There was huge rings that were used for the close-ups, so that it looked more impressive. They could really get into it.
In the advertising business, they called them the hero.
Yeah, the hero, right? Yeah. Elijah got one. Andy Serkis got one. I've got one. But I don't know if I was given that. But I do know that I've got one.
But is it very precious?
It's very precious. And it does make me invisible. Or at least I think it does. Sometimes I stroll around Glasgow naked with it on.
We'll leave you with that thought. Yeah, okay. We've got about 4 minutes to go, so a few more questions. Down here, somebody microphone? Over there, we've got someone with a mic at the back there, and then we'll come down the front.
It's Poison Ivy.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Am I enjoying myself?
Yeah.
I'd have to say yes, I am.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it's lovely to have you with us. I just wanted to ask, what was the scene that you enjoyed filming the most as Pippin?
The scene I enjoyed, there was so many. The one that popped into my mind there was, do you know when me and Dom were in the elven boat eating lembas bread?
Oh God, yeah.
And that made me laugh more than any other scene. I couldn't get the lines out because of that idiot Dom. He's been very funny. So, and also how Orlando sort of was doing an advert for lembas bread. It's really weird, telling us all about this, you know? Like, what are you doing, selling it? That made me laugh a lot, that scene. I don't know if that was, you know, there was other things like outside Moria, after Gandalf has fallen, that was the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. And to be up there with the guys from the Fellowship just felt like such an honour, and no one else was allowed up there. The New Zealand government had allowed us to be there, but only if there was a very minimal cast and crew, so there was hardly anyone. And that was the moment that felt most like we were actually in the Fellowship, and we were just stopped for lunch, you know? It was beautiful, really beautiful.
Okay, down. down the front here.
Here she comes with the mic.
Hi Billy. I just wanted to say I really enjoyed Pippin. And also there were a lot of in DVD extras for Lord of the Rings. There were a lot of accidents on set. Which one was the worst?
The worst accident. There was a few things. Viggo getting his tooth chipped. That looks really painful.
God, yeah. He tried to stick it back on with super glue.
Sean Astin standing on that thing as he ran into the boat with Elijah. I think that was the worst because that was helicopters and all that. Still pretty funny though.
Oh, it's not nice.
Dom got a tiny thing through his foot once
it
that he made a big deal of.
I remember that.
Orlando, did he break his ribs or something? I remember he fell off a horse.
Yeah. 2 towers.
That's daft. If you're an elf, you shouldn't fall off a horse. You should be good at that.
Riding around on Treebeard quite a bit. I bet that went on for days.
That was really painful. That created a lot of chaffing. Terrible chaffing.
Yeah, bicycle seat.
Me and Dom used to rub cream on each other. Didn't really. Do not put that on the internet.
Oh,
we never did that. But when they first
not get you any beautiful handmaidens.
No, none of that. Well, that was the one time we were in a green screen for a long time with Treebeard. And when they first invented Treebeard, it was huge, you know, it was the biggest prop ever made for a movie at that time. And they said, okay, you sit up there and Dom sits up there, okay. And they had
bicycle seats.
Bicycle saddles that we sat on, but nowhere to put your feet. So like, imagine sitting on a bicycle saddle with
weights going.
Yeah, you're not like, at least on a bike you've got your feet in the things. And so like a day of that, and we're like, we can't do this. This is, we won't be able to have babies. And so then they fixed it and made it quite comfortable. But there was a couple of days of that was hell, as the Treebeard was moving around and we were on saddles, you know.
We'll do 1 or 2 more and then we'll have to wrap it up, sadly. Where are you going? Somebody spotted someone right at the back there.
Hello, Billy.
Hello.
Hiya. I've got a question for you. Obviously in Lord of the Rings you've got actors with some real legends. Christopher Lee, Bernard Hill, people of that stature. And also a lot of up-and-coming stars such as Elijah, Sean. Out of all of them, who would you say impressed you the most? Who really made an impact on you?
Some very big names. Who made
that's good. That's a good question, you know.
Work this carefully.
God, so many different things, you know. Like Dom really impressed me in that he was just a great guy to have on set. You know, when people were really tired and, you know, Dom was great for bringing everybody's energy up and keeping things going, you know. Purely for, you know, to watch as an actor, I think Bernard Hill is really one of the great actors, you know, for emotional truth. You know, he's just so wonderful, you know. Ian McKellen is just, what a treat to work with him. All the stuff in Minas Tirith was just like doing a play, you know, with the world's greatest stage actor. You know, it just was, you know, everybody, Viggo, you know, we would work until 2 in the morning and had to start again at 6. This happened one day, and I saw him going to his car with a painting under his arm, and I said, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's a painting, and it's a beautiful painting. And I said, where did you get that? He said, oh, I painted it last night. So, like, when everybody else is dying, he'd went home and did this incredible painting, you know.
Show off.
So, I mean, they were all, you know, real inspiring people, you know, to spend that time with.
Well, I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap it up there, so ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to thank Billy Boyd.
Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. That was very kind. Thank you. We're going to have another apple.
Okay, folks.